Imagine a world where a single idea, dressed up as undeniable truth, takes root so deeply that questioning it becomes heresy. This is the tale of Charles Darwin and his theory of evolution, a story sold as the ultimate explanation of life's origins, yet one that crumbles under scrutiny. It's a narrative of ambition, assumption, and a grand illusion that has misled generations. Let's peel back the layers of this so-called scientific gospel and reveal why Darwin's ideas might just be the greatest scam in history. In 1859, Charles Darwin, a man of curiosity but not a scientist by today's rigorous standards, published On the Origin of Species. His big idea that all life, every bird, fish, and human, descended from a single simple ancestor through a slow, unguided process of natural selection. Tiny changes, he argued, piled up over millions of years, turning slime into sparrows and monkeys into men. It sounded plausible, even poetic. The world, hungry for a story to replace fading religious certainties, latched on. But beneath the elegance of Darwin's prose lies a foundation of sand, built on guesses, not facts, and propped up by a faith as blind as any he sought to replace. First, let's talk fossils, the supposed treasure trove of evolution's proof. Darwin himself admitted a gaping hole. If life evolved gradually, the Earth should be bursting with transitional forms, creatures caught mid-step between fish and frog, reptile and bird. He called this absence the most obvious and gravest objection to his theory, pinning his hopes on future discoveries. Over 160 years later, those hopes are dust. The fossil record shows sudden bursts of complex life, like the Cambrian Explosion, where most major animal groups appear fully formed, with no ancestors trailing behind. Paleontologists have dug up millions of specimens, yet the missing links stay missing. Instead of a slow climb, we see stasis. Species appear, persist unchanged for eons, then vanish. Darwin's gradualism, a fairy tale. Take the famous Archaeopteryx, often paraded as a half reptile, half bird. Evolutionists cheer its feathers and claws, but dig deeper. It's a true bird, with fully functional flight feathers, not some awkward in-between. Or consider the coelacanth, a fish once thought extinct for 65 million years, hailed as a stepping stone to land animals, until fishermen caught one in 1938, alive and unchanged. These aren't transitions, they're dead ends. The fossil story screams design, not descent. Then there's the mechanism, natural selection. Darwin saw it as nature's sculptor, whittling life into endless forms. But what does it actually do? It picks winners from what's already there, like breeding dogs for short legs or long noses. It shuffles existing traits, but it doesn't invent new ones. For slime to become a sparrow, you need more than tweaking. You need whole systems, like lungs or wings, to pop into being. Where's the evidence of that? Mutations, the supposed engine of novelty, mostly break things. Sickle cell anemia, fruit flies with extra wings they can't use. These are defects, not progress. To believe random errors built eyes or brains is like believing a tornado could assemble a jet from a junkyard. Mathematicians like Fred Hoyle have crunched the odds. The probability of even one protein forming by chance is one in a number so vast it dwarfs the atoms in the universe. Darwin's engine stalls before it starts. What about the tree of life, that branching diagram in every textbook? Darwin sketched it as a vision of common descent, but modern science snaps its limbs. Geneticists mapping DNA find contradictions, genes that don't match the expected family tree. Humans share traits with chimps, sure, but also with pigs, chickens, even jellyfish, in ways that defy a neat lineage. Convergent evolution, they call it, similar features popping up in unrelated species. But that's a fudge, not an answer. If life's a tree, it's one with roots growing upward and branches tangling in knots. The molecular data, far from confirming Darwin, hints at something else, a blueprint, not a blind stumble. And then there's the origin of life itself. Darwin dodged this, starting his story with a creature already alive. But evolution's disciples can't escape it. They propose a primordial soup, lightning zapping chemicals into the first cell. Yet, every experiment, like the overhyped Miller-Urey test, produces a handful of amino acids, not life. A cell isn't just chemicals. It's a factory with coded instructions, machinery, and purpose. The simplest bacterium has DNA more complex than any software humans have written. Random chance crafting that? It's a leap of faith bigger than any religion Darwin mocked. Chemists like James Tour, who build molecules for a living, call it nonsense. Life's complexity demands a designer, not a dice roll. So why does this scam persist? It's a story of power and pride. By the late 19th century, elites wanted a secular creation myth, one that dethroned old dogmas and crowned science as king. Darwin delivered. His theory wasn't proven, it was chosen. Gaps were glossed over, dissenters silenced. Textbooks peddled half-truths like Haeckel's faked embryos, still lingering in print decades after being debunked, or the peppered moth saga, staged photos, not science. Evolution became a club to wield against faith, a badge of intellectual superiority. Question it, and you're a fool or a fanatic, never mind the evidence. But the cracks show. Scientists like Stephen Meyer and Michael Behe point to irreducible complexity. Systems like the bacterial flagellum, a microscopic motor that fails if even one part is missing. Natural selection can't build that step by step. It's all or nothing. Others, like Gunter Beckley, a former Darwinist turned skeptic, abandoned the theory when fossils refused to cooperate. These aren't fringe cranks. They're experts seeing what Darwin couldn't. Life's fingerprints don't match his script. Picture this: a courtroom where evolution's on trial. The prosecution calls witness after witness, fossils, genes, math, all testifying against gradual change. The defense stammers, clinging to old tales of ape men and moth wings. The jury, open-minded seekers of truth, starts to see the con. Darwin's idea isn't a law like gravity. It's a guess stretched into a gospel, a lie propped up by prestige, not proof. What's the alternative? Maybe life's no accident. Maybe the sparrow's wings, the human mind, the dance of ecosystems all point to intent, not chaos. You don't need a Bible to see it. The evidence whispers it in every cell. Darwin's scam sold us a universe of blind luck, but the world sings a different tune, one of purpose, precision, and a mystery far grander than his little book could hold. So next time you hear evolution preached as fact, ask the hard questions. Where's the proof? Why the gaps? Who benefits from the story? The answers might just unravel the greatest lie ever told and set you free to see the world as it truly is.